you got any questions? Because I'm not being told who to start with. Is it okay if we just do a little bit of a soul reading? Just connect into your soul and have a look at your soul colours. I know this may sound a strange question, but are you really aware of just how brilliant you all are?
Probably not.
No, I don't think you are. And I don't mean that to... it's more of an encouragement to realise for you to step out of that, any perceived boundaries that you have about yourself, and really accept that you are the most incredible being that's walking this earth right now. And if you don't, understand it or feel it, just ask for that feeling and knowing to come through. Because whatever we ask for, we just get. And the more we ask, the more we get. So it's really quite beautiful. I'm going all over the place now. I need to settle on someone who I like. Start with you.
Yeah, sure.
Just takes me a second to connect into your soul. So I just have to ask first, is someone got a mother in spirit? I'm not going to go into mediumship, but because I keep seeing a woman walking around who is a mother figure, but I'm trying to connect to this other thing at the moment. And are you worried about your mother? Yeah, okay, it's your mother. She's not in spirit, I don't mean that she's passing over, but her spirit form's been around you. Yeah. She's not too well. Maybe we can touch on that in a minute, but first thing your soul shows me about you, and I don't mean to be rude with my eyes closed, but it's just easy to communicate, is that you've got this huge zest for fun and laughter and joy. Do you portray that in your daily life?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Well, I feel there's more that you could express. I feel one of the things that your soul's come here to learn in this lifetime is real, genuine playfulness. And I don't mean like acting a charm, but being playful within ourselves, where we really are sitting in the magic of who we are. Because when you look at a child, they are just so full of love. They only know unconditional love. And there's this real magical presence about them. And there's a lot of excitement around your soul, because if you haven't fully come into it yet, I feel it's waiting for you to just ask for it, for that soul to sort of merge more with your human consciousness, so that you can really experience the playfulness, because I feel there's lots of abilities that your soul wants to express in this lifetime, which you haven't yet. Sometimes you hold yourself back a bit. Because I feel it's like it's all over here, and then you go, oh, look at it, no, just like, won't touch. And if we're to really step in our soul's shoes and really transform our thinking and our consciousness and come into oneness for ourselves and our world, it really is about just grabbing it with both hands and not being afraid of it. And I'm not saying that you are, but your soul keeps bringing music around. Do you like playing music? Do you play music?
Just playing.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the abilities that you've got that you're now taking up. But I feel music's a really important thing for you to focus on as well, because it really helps your soul to communicate with you. So if you're just listening to music, I feel you're capable of teaching as well, teaching with others. And it's like your soul's got all these bag of tricks that you've accumulated over different lifetimes, and you've tried different things out. And it's like you've got this whole array of, it's almost like opening up, like a builder might have his belt with all his tools in, and you've got all these things lined up. You're saying, well, which one am I going to play with in this lifetime? And it's about playing with you. So if you can think about anything that you do in life, that you're going to get some playfulness out of it, then you really will combine a lot more easily with your soul, so that you become into that oneness, which then opens you up to, obviously, emergence with highlighting universal consciousness. I mean, they're not all sequential, they all happen together. If you can get right to the core of that soul and let that soul come right into you, even if you go after work, it's about how is this going to give me a sense of playfulness, and you're always going to be on the right track, and you won't make any, not that you make mistakes, but it's not going to be causing disharmony to you physically, mentally or emotionally. So, and that may sound a bit strange, but whatever you do, whatever you pursue, bring that word playfulness in there. Just ask if this is right for me. Am I going to get a sense of playfulness of myself in this? So therefore I'm going to really enjoy the magic of who I am. And then you'll always get an answer as to no, that's not you, so you won't do it. Or it just means that you're able to then be your real true self. But it really is important for you in this lifetime to enjoy that playfulness. Because I felt you've done a lot of study in previous lives and you've been very serious about it. It's about accumulating all of that in this lifetime and having fun with it. So you can really express the joy of your soul. And it's shown itself to me in this really vivid orange colour. And right in the centre is this beautiful yellow. And yellow is all about clarity and understanding the science of the soul and just the science of being. And the orange is all about change. So it doesn't mean to say you've got to constantly be changing things, but it means if you embrace change more, so did I say that right again? If you embrace change more and incorporate this playfulness, then whatever you do, things will happen more quickly and you'll move on more quickly, you'll grow more quickly, you'll manifest more quickly. Do you understand?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And also there's a lot of green coming around with that, so what your soul's saying to you is the more you step into this, and if you wanted to meditate on it, I'd draw a big yellow, orange ball, yellow in the centre, and imagine stepping into it, and then melting into it. That's a good visual to do if you just draw it out with some crayons or something on a bit of paper.
Some green around.
Yeah, and the green's going to come in to just balance and harmonise. So if you've not got harmony in your life, that's the more you step into the south, the more this harmony will balance itself out in your life, in your relationships, money, career, everything. But right in the centre is this playfulness, which then gives you this clarity, clear-mindedness about everything. Everything begins to make sense. So you won't lose your way. Is that okay?
Yeah.
You got any questions?
No, it actually makes a lot of sense.
Cameron, I'm going to come to you now. Is that okay? Sorry, I don't know your name.
It's Scroller.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, no, it's actually Cameron. I said sorry. Your soul's it's like it's coming out of a long tunnel. So it's like you've been hidden for a long time. And I know what, you're slowly evolving. And it's literally, your soul just took me right down this tunnel. It wasn't a dark tunnel, it was a white light, but it was narrow at the end. And it's like you're just coming right out, and the tunnel's just going like this.
So I'm not going the skinny bit, I'm coming from the skinny bit on the way up. Thank God.
What it means is you've passed that point that we spoke about probably about 8 or 9 years ago, where you're now actually walking on the right path, walking on those soul shoes. But right in the core of that is, and I don't question when the colours come through about the rose, because it's meant for a reason, but your soul has got this most beautiful purple, deep blue. It's like a mixture of the blue and purple. And right in the centre is like brilliant white, but it's very clear at the same time, crystal colour. And on the sides of that is this white that just stretches out along this tunnel. And as you step more into your true sense of self and follow your right path and follow your intuition, this blue is just getting stronger and stronger and stronger and more vibrant, and it's filling itself up with joy and fun and happiness and just sheer expression of yourself. So I feel, and I know we haven't touched on this in your healings because this is different from the soul's perspective, it's like you've spent a long time getting to this place. so many lifetimes.
Right.
And I know, different lifetimes we do come into oneness, but it's more so for the whole planet this time around. And it's like you've got your bags with you, and this is just a metaphor, and you're standing there saying, well, I've arrived, now what do I do with myself? And it's like I'm standing on a platform now waiting for a train to come along. But that's because you're constantly on the move and constantly doing things, but it's about sitting back now and just letting that happen.
You've heard that before. Yeah.
So?
Yeah.
You can still, on a practical level, still be doing lots of things, right? That doesn't mean you've got to stop there. It's just that you've got to find time on a daily basis to stop and just be. And it'd be good actually if if you're all, whatever colours you get tonight about this is the essence of your soul, it's like a soul blueprint, but it's in colour form. So where this blue is about the wholeness of self, it's about really stepping into the richness and the magnificence of self. And the purple is about transforming all of that which you've accumulated in the past to now turn it into gems of wisdom for this lifetime. So your soul's really at its fulfillment stage. It's worked many lifetimes on being told. And you've come from a long way back, and your bags have got heavier and heavier as you've come along. But they're not heavy as in baggage, they're bags that are full of wisdoms. Oh. So over the next 7 years, there's this huge potential for growth for you to really step into that, which is up here compared to where you are right now. And I don't mean that in levels, but it's huge. And it's about you fulfilling all of your dreams and ambitions. And that's why it's important for you to sit back, listen to what your soul is guiding you to do, and you will hear it. I'm being told you definitely will hear it. And you might feel like, that's baby steps. What do you mean I'm going to do it that way? I want to go there. But it's in order for all parts of you to be integrated, so you move forward in a whole sense of self. And because there's a lot going on, and more that's going to be going on in your life, because you created anyway, you won't sit still for 5 minutes. It's important that if you're going to carry on doing that, and there's nothing wrong in doing that, but you can get scattered in that.
I am already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say that. But, and that's not, there's no right or wrong in that. That's just what you do, so that's where you're at. That's how it is. But in order for you to accumulate and what's the word? Really enjoy again all what you've grown to and endeavoured to achieve. It's like being hit with so, it's almost like I'm going to open up this huge box of goodies, or this, I don't know where to start. So that's why it's important for you to have time. And just imagine sitting right back in the centre of that blue and that purple, and this whiteness is all around you, which is your vision, which is enable you to take everything in, but absorb it in here, so you don't get scattered. Understand? Yeah. And it is about beating your own drum in this lifetime. I don't mean in an arrogant way. Your soul just wants you out there, making that voice, but in a whole sense of self. And then I feel over I mean, you haven't got to wait 7 years, but it's just this constant progression. Then I feel it will really hit you consciously as to what you're all about and what all this really means. It's going to be quite beautiful. But you do need to allow you to step back into yourself and move forward as a whole sense of self.
I don't do the quiet stuff very well. I do it in the car, but that's kind of very poor.
Well, even if you did it for 10, 15 minutes a day, that's a start. It just allows all these other parts of you, because you live very much in the conscious mind, there's so much more of us, to these parts to keep integrating and take in those perceptions and those learnings, so we can accumulate it and understand it, process it on a conscious level. So it's not hidden from my view anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then you really will step into that creator self.
Mm, thank you.
It's just there, waiting.
I feel it's close, I really do.
So don't think you've got to wait 7 years. It just means that 7 years is this huge expansion of growth.
I understand.
You know, and you can go as quick or slow as you want it. If you want to speed it up, you ask. But it's still, then it means you need to take care of you a lot more.
Take care of myself a lot more.
If you want to speed up your own spiritual progression, you just ask, and it will come. But in order to handle all of that change, you need time to spend in self, in that quiet time.
I understand.
Because it's physical, it's mental, it's emotional, it's physiological, it's all sorts. It's not just changing our thinking.
So set half an hour a day.
That would be excellent.
And just sit still.
Sit still.
Do nothing.
Well, you can meditate on that colour.
Oh.
Just some calm music. See, that when you know of your soul's colours and you can then draw them out and just step into them, if you then take yourself consciously into them, you're consciously saying to yourself, I'm ready to merge with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've got free will consciously. We cannot, we don't have to do these things. So we've got choice. So by having that there and then stepping in and losing it, taking yourself in there, like through the heart or through something you draw in front of you, you're consciously saying, yes, I want this to happen. So you're giving permission to your soul, your higher mind, to manifest themselves through you. Because that's what it's all about.
Okay.
And it can all be just done very calmly, very simply.
And just put some super glue on your buttocks and you will be able to sit still.
That would be helpful.
Because that's his problem, he can't sit still.
No, because the mind doesn't sit still, and it's coming out of this well, it's not up here, of course, but let's say it is. It's coming out of that conscious mind into that stillness of almost emptiness, where you can feel some big self.
And sitting still is the hardest, and even to the point, I'm cheating at the moment. Lisa's always got me to do some mirror work, and I can never sit still enough to do the mirror. I just sit and look in the mirror. So I've been cheating because I did the Antonia shake, and it's easier for me to stand in the mirror and shake than sit still in the mirror. So I'm kind of cheating, I suppose, aren't I?
Well, you've learned how to do it healing, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
So you can take yourself up, like we did tonight, and just ask to be shown how to be calm and still for just half an hour a day.
Okay.
And you will be.
Okay.
And to enjoy it.
Yes.
Because you'll want more of it when you do it. Because I know we get very busy, but when our minds then get busy, it's a distraction. And things can come at us in different ways. It makes it sometimes more difficult. We can stumble, we can get things, our health can suffer.
It's usually the first. When you're not being still,
Well, there's an awful lot going on at the moment. It's not just us evolving, the whole world is evolving, and we're taking the world with us. If we weren't doing this, the world wouldn't evolve. And what's happening energetically around the world at the moment is just phenomenal. And so you've got all this unrest happening out in the Arab world, and us just sitting here tonight is balancing that out. So, we're giving them a chance to come out of their darkness. But at the same time, because that's happening globally, we're also being affected by all of that energy. No matter how much we protect ourselves, we're still just streams of energy, so we will get affected by it. So it's important that we take care of our health right now. And the more calmer you are within yourself, you don't get then influenced by all the external stuff, all the fear out there. And I know you might think, I don't listen to the news, I don't listen to that. You don't have to. It's out there. It still affects us. So if we don't have that stillness, we can find things happening in our life that just slowly take us off stream again.
Okay.
But your soul is so rich, it's just
Thank you.
It's just creamy and beautiful. I mean, everyone is too, but that colour is just
Blue and purple are my soul colours.
Yeah, the blue is that really vibrant royal blue that I was doing in the rose. I mean, I can see it, but I can't see it. I'm not here to show you. But yeah, it just glows. And it's got this mixture of purple happening. So yeah, it really is the fulfillment so much wisdom. It's a nurture for you, nourishment of the soul. All that real richness, like even thick chocolate cake, if you like chocolate cake. You'd understand the metaphor. If you don't, you won't.
I love chocolate cake.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Is there, if I continue? Have we got time?
Yeah, we're plenty of time.
I don't know. So.
Daryl.
I didn't introduce ourselves. I'm Sandy. Is it okay if I come to you?
No, that's fine.
As soon as I connect with your soul, I get this beautiful stream of pink floating. And I know often men don't like pink, but pink's a delicious colour. And it's just floating all around you, sorry?
Pink's
Good.
couple of things.
Well, pink's really epitomises softness and tenderness, but that real compassionate nature. But that compassionate nature, it's almost also like the way I'm being asked to describe it to you, which is what your soul wants to convey, is it's like a big fluffy pussycat just lying there really enjoying itself too. So I don't know if you like pussycats.
No,
You know when you
I-
see an animal just lying there in its own space, and it's soft, and it's dreamy, and it's... But there's this wonderful softness about you. It's like you could put things to right quite easily. Do you do that now in your life? Soothe troubled waters, calm people, lend a helping hand?
Yeah, I'm finding it happening more.
Yeah, well there's loads more to come, just sort of at the edges. Because I feel there's a lot more to you than, well, what I'm being told to say is meets the eye, but in your own sense of meets the eye. You haven't yet explored the depth of yourself either. And it's like I want to pull this plug out and just let pink bubble over everywhere. Because all you're about in this lifetime, I'm talking about the core of our soul here, is about compassion. It's about spreading joy. It's about bringing calmness into people's minds or into their lives. And although that may be far removed from what you're doing now, you think, how am I going to do that? Doesn't mean that we all have to go up on a stage or run healing centres or things. We can do that just in our daily activities, the way we go about our business with people. But there's a deep sense in your soul that yet I don't feel has come into you to really feel it on every level. There's this real deep contentment. So your soul about in this lifetime gives me the words peace and contentment right across you. So if you're an ambassador to stop factions warring, that would be ideal for you, or as a moderation type work. Or it's not counselling necessarily one-on-one, it's about bringing oil into troubled areas. And again, you don't necessarily have to express that on a big scale, you can do that in smaller groups, or just as you go about walking about in the street, just the way you talk to people, the way you give out that kindness. But if you can imagine your heart as this flower, that every day the flower just opens and opens and opens, and if you then ask for that compassion to just naturally flow from source through you, and for you to understand what that really, really feels like, so you feel it in all of your being, then you'll be able to express this completely and find yourself doing and saying things to people that just bring this real calmness and sense of peace around them. And then that's how you will feel too. It's almost like you could then float through that. On a totally different energy level to what you're doing now. It's like it spreads itself out, becomes much calmer and stiller, and just this deep inner sense of peace and contentment. Because I'm being shown in past lives, you do a lot of keeping the peace in a similar way, but you did it by standing still and being quiet. So you didn't get involved in discussion or argument. It's it's like you stood at the side and are being shown you like a Buddhist priest, and just kept your space and kept that presence of that more creator Christ-like energy in wherever you were, so that that then fed out to whatever was going on. So it's like you were pouring the oil to soothe things from here in past lives too. So if you haven't had an awareness of that past life, and I feel it's more than one, because I see you in different priest uniform, and that doesn't mean to say that you were fixed with doctrine of religion at that time. I feel you're what I would call a man of God in different lifetimes. You understood that intrinsic connection to Source. Just ask that you can step back into that and bring that forward, that knowledge and that wisdom that you had then, to just build into your own awareness in this lifetime, so you can draw on that deep contentment, that deep knowing, that deep peace. And so when you speak your words, those words will be coming from that energy which will immediately calm the situation and calm people. Does this make sense to you? If you allow it to happen, and you do have free will to stop this, and just allow it to happen naturally by working with it each day, just asking for it to come through, it will very easily flow. And it's like whatever you do in life, job, situation, anything, just ask how you can bring peace or display peace and contentment, or how it's going to give you peace and contentment in your life. And if you get a feeling that path will not give me peace and contentment, I'd leave it well alone. You might want to venture down there just to test your own intuition and just see what would happen anyway, but it won't necessarily benefit you. Because the more we bring the truth of our soul into the way we deal with our lives, the more we are of the soul, the more we are of the high mind, the universal consciousness. But we're enacting in those moments heaven here on earth, as it were. So when you step into that truth and let it flow, and then you're with someone talking in that way, and the words aren't coming from your conscious mind, they're coming from here, in that moment you are the creator, and you're opening up there, like we all do. God, Source, is just talking to us through us onto the earth. But there is a real gentleness about your soul. So if you haven't yet experienced that full gentleness, I just ask that you do explore it all. It's like you, as a liquid, just flowing into all those parts of yourself and just learning what they feel like. And you learn a lot by feeling. Do you know that? So when you ask to understand this, ask to feel it. Sometimes we need to ask to understand it in our conscious mind. But the more you learn to feel it, the more you just allow this to bubble over and spread like a beautiful pink liquid all the way through you. Like your soul's just taking this little bit. So there's so much more in there for you to open up to. It really is beautiful, and it's so calm, it's so peaceful. It really is enriching for you. And then sensing that real sense or presence of yourself. And it's a bit of a weird feeling when it first happens, because it's like you're two people, but then they slowly merge, but you do sense that soul. So I'm not suggesting you go out and wear pink, but having something pink around you.
I do anyway.
You do, a pink t-shirt.
I've got a couple of pink shirts.
Yeah, because it
G-strings.
really is you. It really epitomises your soul perfectly. And there's real beautiful shades of a turquoise blue like this floating through it, which is the real expression of unconditional love and of being of service.
My favourite colour is turquoise.
Sorry?
My favourite colour is turquoise.
In mine as well, yeah, it's like little strands of it floating through the pink. So there's all this beautiful understanding of unconditional love flowing in compassion, and this beautiful, it's all about service. I mean, we're here to serve in that sense. But it's not your dominant colour. The dominant colour is the pink. So it's all about you expressing that compassion, that peace, and that contentment also. So that's what you need to be asking for in your endeavours, so that each time you do, you're connecting more and more. So you may find people just want to come and stand next to you sometimes and just... Have you had that?
Not regularly.
It probably doesn't even notice.
Probably just coincidence. Maybe I haven't noticed either. Yeah.
Well, I feel, these things are just opening up for you. So it's good that you're here tonight to listen to it. So that's probably why we've got a small group. That's why we've got a small group. So we're going to do this with.
It's good. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, the same thing.
Yeah, you have trouble doing this. With 20 people.
But it's also one being told you're all at the same place, really, just whether you're all ready to open the door. So it's not without coincidence that you're all just sitting here tonight. Sorry, ladies, it looks like you're going to be last, aren't you?
I'm awake.
You want the air conditioning off? Is everyone all right?
Yes, please.
Turn it off?
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah.
That is a really good scene.
It's a whole mixture of colours around you, Mark. The first one was this really vivid red, and it's standing right behind you. So I feel, apart from this beautiful red that's more down on your right side, you've got this beautiful magenta colour as well that's sort of swirling around you. But inside there, if you look in magenta, then you start to see the purples and see the blues. But every one of them is like this thick, beautiful, luscious silk that's just flowing. So it's very creamy and luxurious looking. Oh no, it's changing again. So I feel your soul's about exploring many different aspects of you in this lifetime. It's not about settling on one thing. But there's a lot of empowerment for you to realise in yourself in this lifetime. Do you understand? And to feel that empowerment and to know that you are a very powerful being. And I don't mean that in any arrogant sense, I mean it in the most spiritual, self-loving sense of that we are powerful beings. But it's about you taking that mastership and that power and, again, fully utilising it in your life. And I don't feel that you have done that yet. You're aware of it, and I feel at times it drives you, and then at other times it doesn't stop you, but then this other aspect of you wants to come in and transform what you're learning from your empowered self to then transform that into the wisdoms that you're wanting to acquire in this lifetime. So you've got these amazing two huge colours that if you looked at that you'd think they're in opposition, but they're not. They just balance you out completely. You've got the red that's just real power base in you. And that doesn't mean to say that you strut around in life telling people what to do. It's that sense of self, that real sense of I am real, I feel good about myself, I know who I am, that's being born in you in this lifetime. And then you've got this other magnificent powerhouse of colour too, that's a mixture of this magenta with these shades of purple through it, that it's almost like I want to put this great big cloak around you with this big thick velvet cloak to almost to sort of adorn you with it and put a crown on your head. It's that kind of richness and that sense of self, but again it's not an arrogant ego-based sense of self. It's about the knowing of self and really relishing that feeling and feeling brilliant about it in yourself, that you really are real and that you are of value. Because I feel there's lots for you to do that you haven't really started on yet. And it's like you're at the beginning of it, and although it might be feel a bit slow at the moment, and I'm not necessarily talking about your retreat, but that and in yourself, it's just like you're just slowly, and it doesn't mean to say you have to make it any faster, but it's like you're just slowly evolving in this beautiful way that just is like a volcano in slow motion. It's just all surfacing and evolving at the right pace, in the right time and in the right way. But for you, in all of your endeavours, it's always asking the question, how do I maintain my sense of self in all of this? How do I build on that sense of self in all of this? And if your instinct or intuition tells you it ain't going to happen, then you've got the choice to not then follow that. Because the more you allow that aspect of your soul to evolve in this lifetime, that's your doorway into the oneness of self for you in this lifetime too. So the more we allow that to happen, the more we transform into our truly creator self. And there's a part of you too, in this whole sense of self and empower, you sometimes quite like happy to just sort of sit in the background too, aren't you? Yes. So it's a real wonderful humility that comes with that real sense of self, because we don't need to display it, we don't need to show anybody else, we don't need to be out there saying to everybody. It's naturally we just keep it to ourselves because we don't feel we need to share it because it's just about us anyway. And at the moment I feel you're in a period where I see you just standing and you're not speaking, you're not doing anything. And what's going on with you at the moment and over the next few months is, what's the word? Almost a repositioning of different things, mentally, emotionally, physically. There's some influences and adjustments and processing just happening over the next few months. It's like I've got all these little building blocks and I'm just putting them in the right places. So physically, your health, not health, but you may feel a bit up and down sometimes, or a bit tired, or not quite energetic as like you would like to be. So that's just what's happening to you on a physical level at the moment, is these two amazing colours just combine a bit more. And the more you embrace them, of course, then the less distraction it is to your physical body. But it's almost too, your soul is wanting you just to sort of sing from your heart and really just, do you sing at all? Do you do any sound work at home?
Only in the shower.
It'd be good for you to do even, some chanting or some ums yourself, just by connecting into your heart, seeing those two colours, and let the sound come from here, from the heart. And just allow that voice to travel out of your body, because you really work on sound vibration too. So that actually is good for your body to adjust itself and for your soul to find its way into you and integrate with you. So sound is really beneficial for you in that respect. Also, do you play the drums or something like the bongos and stuff like that?
I've got a Native American Indian drum.
Yeah, because I'm being shown that that's what you need to do a little bit more. You do a lot at home.
Sometimes, yeah.
No, do I?
Did some the other day with Renata, didn't we?
Oh, okay. Just maybe do a little bit more, but when you're doing it, connect with the sound,
Mm.
connect with the heart.
I do it occasionally on my property, yeah.
Yeah, well, just sit outside in the
Mm.
fresh air on the earth. But it's about connecting with the sound, then feeling the sound in here, seeing those colours, and then just letting the sound come out. And that's going to help bring your soul into you. So it's a very personal thing for you.
Mm. Understand.
Mm. But it's real vibrant red, almost like a crimson red, and then this magnificent magenta, and then huge colours, almost like really cloaks being put around you. So there's a lot of power and presence in that. So it's all about you having realisation of that in yourself. Because I feel there's a lot of good work for you to do. It's just having the foundations right, within yourself as well as external. But definitely sound is good for you. So even if you're doing just that with the drums and organs and chants, and just really let it come up through the body and just. But think of those colours as you do it, so the soul then uses that to travel into you. Whereas with Cameron, it's sitting quiet, doing nothing.
Change.
Thank you.
So what you do is you get together, drum as loud as you can, chant as loud as you can, and make sure you sit absolutely still.
It's a fair
Good
bit.
practice, and I'm just joking. But your property is really a good place for you to do that. Because I feel as you do that, and this whole presence of yourself, which is really very, very powerful, it's like every part of you then, you can feel yourself as a leaf, as a blade of grass, as a tree, as a bird. You'll actually experience that the more you do that.
I do.
That's the soul
like,
really flowing through.
I do feel sort of at one on my property, like when I'm working on it, etc. Or even just being there.
Yeah. This will be a little bit different. It will really just enhance all of that. But you really will feel it's like you've expanded right out, just everywhere. You don't need any drugs. So just getting a name for just sort of a label or an imprint for your soul. It's power. Real power of self, the real knowledge and knowing and having the absolute presence of self. That's your goal this lifetime. It's a primary. Obviously it's lots of that, that's our primary core part of our reason, or what our soul is bringing in this lifetime. And you've got love and spirit. You sense her around. Yeah. She's around all the time, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's just laid, what's that, you're right, a red rose over your shoulder. She just brings this amazing red with her as well. Bright red, though. Not the crimson one. She's just laid a little rose on your shoulder, patted your shoulder. So that's not good. But yeah, she just wants you to know which you already know she's always around.
Yeah, I talk to her, communicate a lot.
I don't feel she'll ever leave your side. Like she'll,
No, I
it's
think,
like she's just hold your hand and that's it.
like I know, I spent other lifetimes with her.
Yeah, she said that you never do as you're told. Still.
Never what?
She was told.
Oh.
Yeah, she used to say that when she was alive.
Sorry?
She used to say that when she
Yeah,
was
she
alive.
said it. But she said she'll never leave. You've got an agreement, and I don't mean, I'm not into soul agreements as that such, but because it makes us think that's what we've got to do, and it's not about that. You two want, we've decided always to be together in that sense. So she'll always be looking over your shoulder, and also taking you by the hand.
Mm.
But she doesn't interfere.
No.
And she's there when you want her, and other times she'll just step back out of the way and let you do your thing as well. So she just watches that with interest. But yeah, I feel you're going to hear from her in the next couple of days, but something she wants to say to you personally. She's not willing to talk about it. And she knows it's not about that tonight anyway.
Mm.
Did she have something? Oh, I have to ask her to leave now. Did she have something funny about a wedding ring or a ring she lost or something? She keeps showing me a wedding ring.
Well, the funny thing, I suppose, was it was made up of 3 rings. Her wedding ring. It was melted, you know, gold,
So
3 gold rings.
big? Was it
Sorry?
What was it wide in the end? Not. It wasn't a thin.
No, it wasn't that big, but
Mm.
it was made up of 3 wedding rings. My grandmother's and
Mm.
hers, and I can't remember what the other one was.
Okay.
But
She just keeps pointing to the wedding ring.
Mm.
So I said to her, she said, "No, no, that's not what we're for." And I need to go and talk to this lovely lady over here and this other lady over here. Yeah, but she just keeps pointing to her wedding ring. So I still feel she takes that with her.
yeah, my
It's very
sister's
special.
got it now, but it was, as I say, it was made up of three different rings. It was my grand's, hers, and I can't remember what the other one
That must be really
was,
special.
but my sister would remember.
Mm.
And that the aspect of that ring has come up in other readings before.
And she just keeps pointing to it. I'm obviously looking at her and that sort of thing. So, yeah, I just feel she's got a message for you. She wants to talk to you personally next few days. It's something she either wants to sort of share with you, show you something. Yeah. I'll leave her at that. Well, she's not going to go away.
Thank you.
Am I checking the door or something? Sorry, gosh, you hide a lot, don't you? Do you go through periods of really being unsure of yourself?
Yeah.
That part of you, which is a very human part of you, does at times inhibit your ability to listen to that inner guidance, that's sort of in your ear. And it's metaphorically in your ear because it comes from my heart, but to help you to become aware, not to tell you to do anything, but that you can just ease off and don't put so much stress on yourself. And relax into yourself. In other words, start accepting yourself and love yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. All these negatives we see of ourselves have been planted by someone else anyway. They're all rubbish, they're all false perceptions, unless we embrace them and live like that. But it's like, I'm also won't go to any person here, but in order to get into your soul at the moment, I need to explain this so I can go past it and have a look. It's almost like you're waiting to be told what to do, instead of allowing yourself to bring that through for yourself. So were you told what to do a lot as a child?
Yeah.
That's the block I'm talking about. So I won't obviously expand on that. There is the fears of making mistakes need to be worked on. They just need to be pulled out. It doesn't take much, but they can be pulled out because it's causing a bit of a... It's like I see you behind a screen and the soul's trying to get to you. Can't quite get through that screen. So in order for you to start waking up, as it were, more and more, and to really feel that self-growth and expression of self, it's about getting rid of this clutter that's in the way. So if you could seek some help and just get some healing work done. Because your soul is like this beautiful flower that's trying to push through you and open up. It just can't quite get there right now. But in that, it's this most beautiful combination of the softest yellow and almost like a lilac colour. And it's about being in the, I don't know a word for this. It's not the, ultimately it's all about expression of joy and love, and that magic of self. But there's the centre of your soul is very still, very calm, very quiet. And it's very similar in the sense that it has this lovely expression of peace. But you've not yet known that, which is why it's finding hard to. But right in the very core of you, in your lifetime, this lifetime, is about that peace. It's slightly different to what I was talking about earlier, but it's this soft lilac, and as that lilac peels away, it's this most amazing, creamy white, and it's in the form of a tulip, the way it's been shown to me. And there really aren't any words to describe it. I don't want to say the word gentle, it's not quite that, it's something more than that. It's this real essence of quietness in self, exactly like the power, but expressed in a different way. So it's been really, content's the wrong word, really in the essence and the peacefulness and the expression of just me. That's what you're about in this lifetime. So you chose a bit of a difficult upbringing in order to allow this essence of self to simply melt away. It's not about challenge, it's not about fight, it's not about struggle. It's about this essence of you that just melts that for you to then just flourish and be in that stillness of self. That's probably that's real calm stillness of self. Many lifetimes of many struggles, many hardships, poverty, ill health, all sorts of stuff. Whole range of lifetimes, villages, war, famine, disease, we've been through it all. Which is why in a sense you've still got that pattern of struggle. But you've come past all of that, and this lifetime is a little bit more about finding your way through opposition, but on a personal level this time, as opposed to other lifetimes. It was more community or group-based because you're in villages and things like that. But it's about coming into that real stillness. It's like looking up at a starry sky at night time and just being in that sense of just is. That's what you've come to experience in this lifetime. And so, whatever situation you find yourself in, you can always find that centeredness of self which you've yet to allow to come into your life. So for you, whatever you do in life, always ask how you can maintain that stillness and sense of self in whatever you go to do. And then you'll get to know whether it's right for you or not right for you. And then you can really express. But you do need some healing work to just get that out of the way. And as you go forward and as you allow this to happen, everything just opens up naturally. It's like I'm just going one step at a time. I'm going up the stairs as I elevate my consciousness. I'm very gentle, flowing. But you haven't yet understood either. You haven't really experienced that in life, have you? No. But you can, if you want to. And as I say that, and I see you just gently motoring up these stairs, there's this beautiful array of orange around you. There's a lot of change to come into your life, but it's gentle change. It's not quick change which you can't handle anyway. It's all about you doing everything in this stillness yourself. That makes sense.
Yeah, because I just started doing it.
Yeah?
I just started doing it.
But some things need healing to get out of the way. Oh. How come to you then? Sorry.
Andrea.
Sorry.
Andrea.
You're so content. You've got a really beautiful owl with you. He's got little glasses on. This is not your soul, by the way, it's just a little totem you've got around you. And he's sort of, do you read a lot?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of things on audio.
Ah, okay. But reading, like,
Yeah.
learning that way. Because he sort of sits over your shoulder and just wants to see what you're doing, wants to learn with you, but also wants to impart wisdom. But I've never seen an owl with glasses on before, so it's quite funny. But he just wanted to introduce himself and just... He's a little bit of a scholar, so I feel there's a period of learning still happening for you on that conscious level. And it's like he's there to assist you to accumulate that wisdom. So if you're reading stuff, what he's saying is, when you go to read something or listen, just ask that whatever you listen and read, that you fully understand it on every level, and that what you don't understand consciously is just download it for you to understand at a later stage. That way everything gets understood by you on some level of your being. You don't always need to understand it on a conscious level. And that's what he'll help you with. So he's sort of sitting up here and definitely a little scholar and a little teacher for you, so you may even feel him sometimes just sort of sitting there, sort of breathing down your neck. But yeah, there's this period of learning that you're doing. He just wants to help you learn more and absorb it all on all levels of your being. And the reason why that gets taught to us is so that we learn that we're not just a conscious mind, we're this multi-directional being, and we're learning and breathing and being on all those levels at all the same time. If we consciously ask to experience that, that's exactly what will happen. So it's like a multi-dimensional, beautiful cube all opening up at the same time, and that way we can help our own transformation and progression more, but we accumulate a lot of wisdom and truth at the same time. And being shown your soul is like, it's more violet than anything else, but a very vibrant violet, but it's not in a circle. It's actually like a pathway just weaving its way down and then traversing that way. So it's like your life is like a series of, not ups and downs, but it undulates at times, but it still continues to fly. And sometimes you might wonder, how do it keep flying? But there's no end in sight either. And I don't mean that in a bad way, it's a good way. It means you're beginning to open up, not necessarily consciously right now, into this understanding that you're an infinite being, and that whatever pathway you want to take, you can just let it flow.